Many Christmases ago, I went to buy a doll for my son. I reached for the last one they had, but so did another man. As I rained blows upon him, I realized there had to be another way.
What happened to the doll?
It was destroyed. But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
Well, that must have been some kind of doll.
She was.
Happy Festivus, everybody. December 23rd. I'll take any opportunity I can to bake in Seinfeld or The Simpsons into anything I do here, Zachary. You know that better than anyone. Happy Festivus. Happy Beltmas, as hopefully that continues to roll on for the Edmonton Oilers. And dude, at Christmas, I mean, it might come early tonight. Matchup-wise, we get our second BOA of the season between the Oilers and the Calgary Flames, and both teams playing some of their best hockey of the season right now. The Flames won 6 of their last 8, Oilers 7 of their last 10. Final game before the Christmas break, and like, shout out the Edgewell schedule makers. I like that they kind of bookended here. You get one right before the holidays with the Flames, and then couple days, bam, right again on Saturday. Should be a good one as we get set for Oilers Flames. But hello, what up, and welcome to Pregaming with Bordzy. Shout out Bet365. We're a presentation of it. Download the app today. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. You know the drill by now. This evening, joined by Zachary Laing, and the chat's on my ass, already calling us late. We had a couple technical difficulties. Zachary, I like that you're rocking the Bears toque right now. Did they officially clinch a playoff spot?
They did clinch a playoff spot, but it's actually not a Bears toque.
Oh, shit, I know what.
It's a Heritage Classic toque from a couple years back.
Oh, wow. My eyes totally deceived me.
It's okay.
I should have been giving you Bears compliments, but I also clinched the playoffs, and you did as well. So shout out us, Zachary. Let's go. Shout out the 2024 NFL draft class. But Zach, it's the 23rd. It's Festivus. It's actually kind of insane that it's the 23rd when you think about it. Time just flies by in the December season. Now, I got an update on my boy Brett and his Christmas shopping, and I'll leave him from airing out his dirty laundry in public once again, like we did on Sunday. Zach, are you done all your Christmas shopping? Are you done everything you need to do?
About like 95% of it. I've got one more little trip to do tomorrow. But I ran around yesterday like a chicken with my head cut off. I ran around this afternoon like a chicken with my head cut off. I just swing by Nation HQ because Jay left his white elephant gift at the office last Friday, and I was so banged up that I just took it home with me. And then I was like, hey, wait a second. This isn't mine. This is Jay's. So I got that back to him today, which was nice. Also stopped at Bread and Butter. Got a bunch of baked goods today. It's going to be a nice couple of days here.
Dude, I also had a nice bread and butter. I couldn't decide between one of these rolls or a pizza pocket. So that was my last day in the office for a bit. Decided to treat myself. Got both of them. Little trick question in there. That's what you do. Let's get first things first caught up into the chat because Austin's in. Of course, he's leading it off. We need this leading into the holidays. Bordzy, fire up this fucking band, baby, my ON fam. It's BOA/Belt to Asmus. Belts, leather bevies. Let's lay the smackdown. We're the cream team, baby. Sorry I might be flat. I'm trying. Austin, we love you, no matter what energy level you're at. And then it was a weird one. Logan came in. He said, let's go Cookie God soon. Let's go Raptors. Boom, boom, boom. I believe I counted 9 to 10 booms in there. I joked with Brett. Costco guys and booms were last year. We've evolved. We're on to different things this year. My queen, Veronica's in. She said she loves Connor McDavid so much. Fighting Amish said that's a lot to roll into there with a lot of booms. I agree. And the chat just started chirping me for being late. Somebody mentions the cream team. Let's go. Cream all night. BOA. Southpaw said the anticipation was killing him. I hope that the Seinfeld Festivus intro did you good. And then we already got a super chat in here, Zachary. Reminder, super chats all in support of the Ben Stelter Foundation. It is the Silver Merlin with $139.99. Talk about the Christmas season. Talk about giving. Talk about giving. He says, for Ben and a Merry Beltmas to all. Silver Merlin, shout out you, man. That's unbelievable. And yeah, it's a Christmas season. And I like that the Edmonton Oilers, it just got mentioned in the chat, Zachary. They're going at cream tonight. The cream team, the cream dream is back for the Edmonton Oilers. Not only do they look good, but they play good when they wear these jerseys. 3-0. There it is, my boy Zachary with a tweet. They've outscored the opposition 21-9. We've talked about making an official petition to make these the home jerseys for the Oilers. I love them. Not actually going to make them the home jerseys, but they look good. They play good in them, Zachary. And for a little BOA right before Christmas, this is awesome. And I'm sure, I mean, if you're buying your Christmas presents this late, that is shitty. But I mean, this is a little late advertisement from the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers, though, 3-0 in the cream dream.
Yeah, man, it's been pretty unreal watching them play in these jerseys. They've been downright dominant in them. Again, 3-0 here. First time they wore them was against Utah on October 28th. They had a 6-3 win that night. And then they played the Seattle Kraken. What was it, 10 games ago? They won 9-4. Then the Winnipeg Jets shortly thereafter, a 6-2 win. The Oilers have absolutely dominated teams wearing these jerseys so far this season. And I'm hoping to see some more of the same of that. Let's keep it rolling here. If anybody does need a late Christmas present for somebody else, cream Edmonton Oilers jersey, not a bad option out there. Those things are beautiful, man. And unfortunately, the Oilers are only going to wear them 3 more times the rest of the season, Bordzy. They're going to wear them on January 31st against the Minnesota Wild, the Chicago Blackhawks on January 12th, and against the Nashville Predators on the 13th. So only 3 more times. One of those games will be at home, the Minnesota game on the 31st. But they're taking them on the road for a couple of games against Chicago and Nashville. So that'll be nice. Curious to see what Chicago and Nashville will rock for the jerseys that night. Maybe they'll mix them up a little bit too from their normal home jerseys that they have. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this game tonight. It's been a while since we've had a Battle of Alberta. What was it? The first game of the regular season. Then we're going to see them again right away, by the end of this week, right? So who knows? Maybe there will be some grievances that occur on the ice tonight that'll have to get resolved next time these two teams meet on, what is it? I think Saturday night, Bordzy? Saturday night they meet again? Yeah, Saturday. That'll be a fun one.
Maybe a feat of strength. Matthias Janmark beating the shit out of Blake Coleman again. That's a memory that I hold very near and dear. Obviously, there's Nuge, Dummian, Sean Monahan. There's the goalie fight. There's everything. But Janmark, shout out. I will not forget when he took Blake Coleman. Also talking jerseys. So, they're going to wear the cream jerseys for 2 away games, which is bold. I like the way you think about what's the other team going to wear this afternoon. Why did the Leafs play so early in the afternoon? I was very confused by that. Thankfully, I started well in my fantasy hockey, but I didn't realize till a couple minutes before 5 o'clock what the hell was going on. But excellent jersey matchup in that game. They had the Penguins all yellow and the Leafs all blue. Little color on color. Remember when the NFL did color rush jerseys? Obviously, there was the Jacksonville Jaguars piss jerseys that they had, but there were some good color rush jerseys with the NFL before. So maybe the NHL will get cool like that. They'll get hip. But Zachary, the Oilers. So let's just, talk about the back-to-back that went down this weekend, because it was one big win and one loss. So a 5-2 loss to the Minnesota Wild, 4-3 win over the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the Minnesota one, it's the final game on a 5-game road trip. You're playing one of, at the time, the hottest team in the entire NHL. No matter what goaltender they're playing, Gustafsson or Wallstead, they are playing lights out. So in that, losing those games happen in the NHL. You think road matinee, Minnesota, all those things, whatever. But then you could argue, and me and Liam said it on Pregaming on Sunday, that may have been the Oilers' biggest game of the season, as obviously they had yet to play Vegas. They had yet to play Anaheim, still haven't played LA yet at this point in the season. But the big dogs on Sunday against Vegas, they were huge for the Edmonton Oilers. That was one hell of a start to the hockey game. They obviously go out 4-0 lead. It would eventually get tight. You just know it's never going to be that easy against the Vegas Golden Knights. There you see it. Connor Ingram making his debut. Freddie was scratched. There were so many storylines heading into that hockey game. But, that was a huge 2 points for the Edmonton Oilers. It now has them tied, 42 points with the Vegas Golden Knights. They still have a couple games in hand, but Hey, if the Oilers win tonight, Vegas plays San Jose. So if the Oilers won, Vegas lost, they would have sole possession of second place. But Zachary, big win on Sunday. I'm curious, though, your thoughts. The weekend overall as a whole, final game against Minnesota on the roadie, and then big dubs against Vegas.
Yeah, that was a tough one against Minnesota, right? The last leg of the 5-game road trip. I didn't think they played a terrible game or anything like that, but obviously, you wanted to see them kind of close it out with a win. Nonetheless, the Oilers still went 3-2 in that road trip. I mean, that's totally fine with me. That's a successful road trip for me. And truth be told, the game against Vegas was essentially the 6th game of the road trip, right? The second half of a back-to-back, they fly home from Minnesota back to Edmonton. They get back to Edmonton, late Saturday night. Then all of a sudden, boom, they got a game against Vegas the next night. So I'm not shocked at how the second half of that game kind of went. First half went pretty much exactly like I was hoping it was going to, right? The Oilers get the belt. They smack the ass of the Golden Knights and have a really strong first half, first 2 periods of that game. And then come the third period, I mean, man, 5 games on the road, a week of travel, all up in the northeastern United States and up in Canada that way. And then coming back home, you could see the Oilers were a little bit gassed, right? But, I thought Connor Ingram had a pretty good game in his first NHL start of the season here, gets the W with the Edmonton Oilers. I thought it was a solid performance from him. And honestly, I love the fact that they're going right back to him here tonight. It also wouldn't surprise me to see them go back to Connor Ingram, right after the break against Calgary again. I thought he had a good game against Vegas. Some great storylines coming out of that game. Michael Menzies wrote something the other day about, the connection between Connor Ingram and Chris Knoblaw and Imperial Saskatchewan. That was a fun little storyline there for sure. And then, of course, just seeing Connor Ingram getting back into the NHL, how can you not feel good about this story and good about this guy and the journey that he's had, right? A champion of mental health and the things that he's gone through, being very open about all of that as well. It's so cool to see, something we need a lot more of in hockey and sports in the world in general right now. So easily a guy that I'm very much rooting for here. I hope he has success with the Edmonton Oilers. And evidently with Tristan Jarry out of the lineup, it wouldn't surprise me to see them kind of treat Ingram like the starting goaltender, right? Giving him all of the starts that Jarry, would have been getting over this next couple week stretch, however many weeks that may be. We all know how Chris Knoblaw is with his injury reporting out there. But nonetheless, tonight, excited to see what he can do in his first battle of Alberta.
Yeah, for Connor Ingram, impossible not to root for a guy like that in the story. Then obviously the Imperial Saskatchewan thing. The other thing, one of the finest beards I have seen in a very long time. Now, Zachary, I cannot grow anything that even resembles a beard like that, but I know you can. I'm going to say, look at that shit on that screen right there. My boy, Grizzly Adams. So shout out to him. But Ingram, right, like in that hockey, so it was weird as well. And I know that we're not box score 900 save percentage hunting. We're not doing this, but we were under the impression that he stopped 26 of 29 for an 897. But then I guess the NHL readjusted things and they said he stopped 28 of 31. So that means a 903 save percentage for Connor Ingram in his debut. Shout out Ingram. There we go. But I really thought he made as good of an impression as you could possibly make in front of the home crowd. That was a huge game against the Vegas Golden Knights. And yeah, they didn't have Jack Eichel. Yeah, they didn't have Shea Theodore, but that's a rivalry game that it just matters more and it means different. And with him, Ingram getting the start tonight, I'm curious what you think and what the chat thinks. I don't necessarily think this is any bit of a knock on Calvin Pickard, because we know with the Edmonton Oilers, they believe in Calvin Pickard. They are always confident in Calvin Pickard. That's why he's still in the NHL. But I think this is more of an effort from Knobloch and the coaching staff to get Ingram rolling, maybe take advantage here, 2 back-to-back starts in front of the home crowd before Christmas here. And then, like you said, who knows? Depending on how it plays tonight might entirely determine who gets the other game against Calgary on the other side of Christmas. And then I guess there's the other part of it as well. Calgary, not that great of a team this season. Granted, lately, they are much improved and they are playing better. But this is one I think that, yeah, the way Connor Ingram looked in the last game, again, it's only one game. I don't want to overreact because this could all blow up in my face eventually, like it has many times before. But he felt I don't know how to describe this, though. It sounded like just a total idiot, but like he was bigger in the net. He was more outward and aggressive and kind of chasing down shooters. He looked calmer in the crease because we know Stuart Skinner and all of his deficiencies and the anxiety that he was. Calvin Pickard, he gets the save done, but it never totally looks proper. It's a little bit of a beer league-esque show going down, but Connor Ingram looked sound. I mean, and once again, as good of an impression. But Zach, I'm curious, what do you think? Does this mean Ingram getting the start? It's just not a slight on Calvin Pickard, in my opinion, but rather a let's get Connor Ingram going. Let's get his confidence back in the NHL at home.
Yeah, I agree with you on that front. I mean, he spoke about it after the game too, kind of talking about, the differences between the American Hockey League and the NHL, right? He thinks of himself as a goaltender who, is maybe not the most athletic guy. And what he really relies on, he said, is that, his ability to kind of read the play and kind of be a little bit ahead of the play or where the puck is going to be going. And in the American Hockey League, from what we've heard and what we've read, what Ingram has talked about, it's a much scramblier kind of a league, right? There's less of this kind of directing shots to certain points of the ice. And there's a lot less things that a goaltender can expect in the American Hockey League versus the NHL. So I think for Ingram, getting him up here, getting him acquainted with the Edmonton Oilers, that's going to be a great thing for him, right? And I agree with you, man. Get him some confidence. Get him back in the NHL. Get him back feeling the NHL style of game, because it certainly is different than in the American Hockey League, right? So, all of the reports out of Bakersfield were that, despite the box score numbers that we were seeing, Ingram looked solid. And that's what it felt like we saw from him against the Vegas Golden Knights. He looked like a guy, who's played in the NHL before, who's been in the pro game here. And that's exactly what the Edmonton Oilers need here, right? Listen, it's obviously a very less than ideal situation what the Oilers are dealing with here, right? 3 starts into the Tristan Jarry era, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's on the shelf with, some kind of a lower body injury. It's definitely concerning about what happened to Jarry, but in the same breath, the Oilers kind of did a pretty good job in picking up Ingram and having him down in the American Hockey League, kind of warming himself back up to get into the NHL, because, whether it was Skinner, whether it was Pickard, we're probably going to see Connor Ingram at the NHL at some point in time, right? And I also think to a certain extent, not that we ever want to see anybody get injured in a sense, but it almost is a little bit of a blessing for the Oilers, because, hey, now we can see what we got in Connor Ingram, right? Like, we can see, hey, is this a guy who, can be the backup, right? Because at the end of the day, when Tristan Jarry comes back from injury, there's going to be a decision to make. The Oilers aren't going to carry 3 goaltenders on the roster. We're not the Buffalo Sabres over here. We're a team that runs 2 goaltenders. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here, and, try not to get too far ahead of myself with all of this stuff, because, again, Tristan Jarry, it's going to be a couple of weeks. We all know the Knoblaw timeline. We'll see how long it actually is.
So we know with Ingram, he was always injury insurance, and that's why they made the deal back in, I think it was October, whenever it was, and you had him there to take a look at him. We know he's reached above 900 multiple seasons, back-to-back seasons, playing a solid workload in the NHL before, and it's funny to think about, right? So you always knew that you had the Ingram bullet, but you pulled the Skinner trade anyways before you had tested out the Ingram bullet, which I was not in support of that. I figured as well you might have swapped Pickard and Ingram. I thought they should test out Ingram before they made any actual trade, because it's like making a transaction without actually making a transaction. It's one you made back in October, but they go ahead and they make the deal for Tristan Jarry. And here we are needing to now use that injury insurance. It would be hilarious. It would be classic Oilers. And here, once again, eye in the sky thinking, but imagine Connor Ingram turned out to be the guy for the Edmonton Oilers, and we had to trade away Stuart Skinner, Brett Kulak, a second for Tristan Jarry to find out that Connor Ingram is in fact the guy, something that was right under your nose the entire time. I wouldn't bitch about that, because it's an any means necessary thing to find your goaltender, but that would be classic Edmonton Oilers in my opinion. And hey, 1 game in, so far so good for Connor Ingram. You talk about storylines in that Sunday game. They were aplenty, obviously. And one big one was the healthy scratch of one Trent Frederick. First year of his 8-year contract with the Edmonton Oilers. Freddie's just been a bummer to talk about. He's been a bummer to think about. He's been a bummer in general this season. But it was weird, though, because Freddie he's been struggling for a minute. We know the Oilers bottom 6 and their struggles at getting depth scoring, but that game on Saturday against the Wild, they started it with Trent Frederic on the second line with Vasily Podkolzin and Leon Draisaitl, a spot that I don't think he was necessarily deserving of, but I think it was one maybe last kick at the can action from Chris Knobloch to try and light that spark in the final game of the 5-game roadie and whatnot. And then boom, they come back for one in Edmonton. They sit him down for that game and let him reset and readjust. He now finds himself back in the lineup in replace of Curtis Lazar. He's going to play 4C role tonight, which is, it's again also weird because Freddie isn't necessarily a centerman, but he can do it. And of course, fourth line minutes ain't going to be playing a ton. Kind of feels like, and once again, Curtis Lazar, I think, has been really good for the Oilers. Freddie's just kind of there, and I feel like nobody really knows what to do with them. But hey, either way, Jason Gregor, he caught up with Trent Frederic earlier today in a media scrum. Brett, we got that clip. Why don't we take a listen and talk about what Freddie, or listen to what Freddie had to say about how he can mentally reset after watching from the press box.
I'd say just mentally, maybe just having a restart, trying to start the year over and forget about, you can't do anything back. You can't go back to the past as much as you'd love to and play better. So you just kind of use it as a restart and start my season today. To start my career, I probably had something similar stats like this. But yeah, I think it's just trying to, offensively, I'm not really doing much. So try to have an impact somewhere else in the game. And that's what I did to start my career. And from there on out, I got better as a player and goals started going in and stuff like that. So just kind of reset it all and get back to that.
Reset it all, brother. Factory reset. Unplug it, plug it back in. Here we go. Take 2 with Trent Frederic in 2025. But Zachary, obviously, we don't need to get into details, but it's been a bad season for Trent Frederic and Chris Knobloch. I mean, he talked about it as well and things he could do. Freddie mentioned that he's got to find his identity. And he basically just said, I got to move my legs. The one thing I can do is move my legs, and good things are going to happen. Zachary, he's back in. He's playing on the fourth line. I'm sure he's going to be playing single-digit amount of minutes, but sound like a broken record here, Freddie. Be physical, move those legs, and maybe something positive will happen tonight. I don't know. He's a bummer.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing season for Trent Frederic. There's no way to sugarcoat it, right? The healthy scratch was, well-deserved, dare I say, because there was a whole lot of nothing going on with him out there on the ice, right? I mean, listen, this is a guy who, has been a solid scorer at 5-on-5 for a number of years. And basically, since he came to Edmonton, he's looked like a shell of the player that, we were kind of expecting him to be when the Oilers picked him up at last year's trade deadline. Some really interesting comments from Chris Knobloch after the game, kind of talking about how there might be still some lingering effects of the ankle injury, but he doesn't really know, but maybe there is, but maybe there isn't. Who knows? It was really ambiguous to me, right? Like he said that he thinks he's healthy, but then he also said that like there might still be some lingering side effects. It was really, really weird. Clear as mud, as the best way to kind of describe it there, right? But I think Frederic said it best, right? Just a little reset. Now, hey, it's a brand new season now for him, right? He's got to come out here tonight and show that he deserves to be in this lineup every single day. He's got 8 years left on his contract, pretty much 7.5 years. He's not really going anywhere anytime soon. So he's got to figure out a way to be a contributor for the Edmonton Oilers. At the very least, the nice thing about Frederic this year, he's been very physical, right? He's not shied away from laying the body. I have faith. I hope that this is a guy that can turn it around because the Oilers could really use some offensive punch in the bottom 6. It's something they just really have not had enough of this season.
Terry's in. He said, Freddie, channel your inner Perry, become the menace. Just move those feet, do the right things, and hopefully it'll turn around. But he kept saying the word there, like mental reset. And I know that sounds nice, but it's kind of, what does that exactly mean? Chris Knobloch, we got a clip here as well. He was talking to the media about what do you do to help out a struggling player like Trent Frederic. Brett, let's take a listen.
Is there any way you could help a guy in a reset? Do you show him video of what he's doing well, when he plays well? How do you try to help a player get out of a funk?
I think it's really important to keep it as simple as possible. I think there's so much going on in his head that he's, like all players, when they want to play a perfect game, trying to do all the right things, then you're thinking about so much and the game's not natural. It doesn't happen quickly for you, and you end up being almost paralyzed. And I think Freddie's put a lot of pressure on himself and wanting to play better. I think his intentions are fantastic. He's a great teammate, great person, and he wants to help out. He's just in a funk. So right now you got to be really careful about how much you show him. The things that we want to show are very precise, almost just all aligning with his identity.
With his identity. What is his identity? See body, hit body. That's what I'd tell friend Tredrick. Also, want to mention the Nation Vacation coming up March 2026. Oh, baby, we're going to Vegas. That Vegas game on Sunday, that was unreal. I hope we get the same type action when we're down there in March. Available, nationgear.ca. You can save your spot with just a 20% deposit right now. So if you can't do it right at this moment, but you can throw down 20% because it's the FOMO and these sell out. And then, it's a month before and you're like, damn it, I really want to go on this. Starting to get that playoff fever coming your way because there's going to be some jockeying in the standings. This game's going to be big time in March. There's 2 of them between the Oilers and Golden Knights in March. So they're going to be a big deal, nationgear.ca. But now we shift our focus to the enemy tonight, the number 1 rivalry for the Edmonton Oilers. Calgary Flames, second BOA of the season. And we all remember game number 1 of the season. It started out great. We were at Greta. It was fantastic vibes. Off the charts halfway through the game. The Oilers go up 3-0. Game was going so well. The Edmonton Oilers GM Stan Bowman was signing Jack Roslovic in the middle of the game. The Oilers couldn't lose. And then all of a sudden, the Flames scored 2 late in the second. Stuart Skinner mishandles a puck. Don't miss that behind the net. It goes to a shootout. The Calgary Flames walked away with the W to just rain on the parade that was the kickoff party that we had down at Greta. Now the Flames, obviously, they're not having a great season, but they've been sneakily hot recently. They've won 6 of their last 8 games. They're now only 5 points out of a wild card spot. They only have 3 less wins than the Edmonton Oilers on the year. And when they're on, this is what I want to preface this all with. When they're on, they can't, there you see it on the year. That's not a whole lot of goals for. And the way that they score their goals is really just manufacturing them out of hard work. And let's not kid anyone. I believe their goals for 28th in the entire NHL on the season. They're 30th on the power play with that 14%. But if the Flames are going to do damage, it's going to be on the back of hard work, grinding away on the forecheck and trying to make the Edmonton Oilers have some errors in their own end, which is something we've seen them do before. Dustin Wolf will be the starter tonight. It's Devin Cooley is the other goaltender. Got tripped up there. Dustin Wolf's going to start. He's not having as good of a season as last year. Obviously, it's like your classic sophomore slump kind of situation where the NHL, I think he's around 100 appearances now, where the scouting report starts to get out there. Every other team now has tape on Dustin Wolf, and this Flames team, we'll talk about it in a minute about what they could sell off at the deadline. But Zachary, as for tonight on the ice, they're a scrappy team. They're one that they're going to work to get their goals. I'm not expecting them to be putting up a whole lot tonight, but they're going to be hard working. And obviously they're in Rogers Place. These games are always ratcheted up with intensity. Final one before the Christmas break, the BOA second round this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be a fascinating game tonight. The Flames have been on a bit of a nice run here, 6-3-1 in their last 10. Granted, the Oilers slightly better, 7-2-1 in their last 10. The truth about this Calgary Flames team is they still are struggling to score. Even over this last 10 games where it feels like they've been turning a bit of a corner, just 2.05 goals per hour at 5-on-5 over this stretch. So they're really struggling to kind of fill the net at even strength here as of late, still giving up a lot of quality looks to opposing teams. Granted, their shot volume is a little bit higher here, in these last 10 games than it had been previously for this Flames team. So they're finding some ways to get things done offensively here. But make no mistake, this is a team that is overall not a great hockey club, right? And surely, we've talked about this before. We've talked about this on Pregaming. hockey players don't forget stuff. You know, the Oilers are going to remember that they blew the game in game 1 of the season against the Calgary Flames during the Greta watch party. They're going to want to get it back for everybody who was down there at Greta and any Oilers fan who were tuning into that game that night. So I'm expecting a big night from the Edmonton Oilers, so much so that I may have put down a little spider on tonight's game. We'll surely get to that a little bit later on in the night. But yeah, I'm excited for this one, man. I love Battle of Alberta games. I wish the Oilers played the Flames like 5 or 6 times a year. I hate that it's only like 3 or 4. More games against the Flames is what I would like to see next season.
I love that we sent this team into a rebuild, basically, with our last series in the NHL playoffs, but you do wish you might get it a little bit more in the Pacific Division. But yeah, the Flames, dude, like they're in a position. I actually think Craig Conroy, much as it pains me to say, is a pretty good job of tearing this thing down, rebuilding this thing, and they got more assets to do it with. Rasmus Andersson is obviously the number one name. You got another guy like Blake Coleman. I believe he has another year on his deal, so you could possibly get maybe first round pick for a guy like Coleman because he has term for another season. It's not just a rental for 1 year. And then you think Nazem Kadri, he's old. He's not getting any younger, and this Flames team ain't winning anytime soon. Do they want to do right by him? Maybe even a guy like Michael Backlund, even though he's been there for his entire career. But little Tankathon update. I don't know if people are aware. Tankathon.com, shout out them. I use it for all major sports, and you can just shuffle between it. But we're always talking about the Oilers and their playoff chase and what's happening at the top of the NHL standings. Let's take a look at the bottom as well. As Brett, throw it up there. So as of today, coming into today, the Chicago Blackhawks would have the number 1 odds in the draft lottery. But then 2, Vancouver, 4, Calgary. So 2 Pacific Division teams. You got to like that. Seattle down there at 8. And then, I mean, shockingly enough, when you actually look at this, there's 4 Canadian teams. The Vancouver Canucks, the Winnipeg Jets, the Calgary Flames, and then the Toronto Maple Leafs. So their first round pick is top 5 protected, but if not top 5, would go to the Boston Bruins. I mean, it's a good draft class year, so it's a good year to tank, I guess, these Canadian teams. I think they're going to maybe try and rebuild the right way. But Zachary, we're always focused on the top. Here's the bottom. Shout out tankathon.com.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, Calgary Flames are right down there. The Jets, I can't believe the Jets are right down there right now either. A couple of surprise teams, you know, especially with Winnipeg down there. How about Toronto? Hey, no first round pick this year. That one would go to the Boston Bruins. How funny would it be if the Leafs somehow wound up in the top couple of spots in the draft lottery this year? They had to send the pick off to the Boston Bruins. That would be brutal. But the Flames are... Yeah, a big round of applause for that one. That would be pretty funny. Yeah, we'll see what happens the rest of the stretch here, but I can't imagine the Flames being anywhere else but here right now for the rest of this season.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. But also, let's not hope, because much like last year, when they just stay in that mushy middle, you can stay there all you like. That's kind of the Vancouver Canucks specialty. Let's go now. Need to know information quickly. Brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Only the finest tasting meat products earn the Wilhauk name. 100% Alberta beef. They do great things to get your jerky on. Head on over to WilhaukBeefJerky.com. Bert, throw it up what we expect the projected lineup to be in this hockey game and what we saw earlier at morning skate. Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, Pods, Dry, Roslovic. You love that top 6. Third line, Andrew Mangiapane with Rico and Matt Savoy. And then your fourth line, Oil to the Max, who has been awesome. I feel like I haven't been talking about him enough and the effort he's been bringing. And Freddie is your 4C. Matthias Janmark rounding out the fourth line. Your deep pairings, Ekholm with Bush, Nurse with Regula, Spencer Stastny with Ty Emberson. Edmonton 7-3-1 in the BOA since the 2022-23 season. The Nuge, he has the most points against any team in his career. It's the Calgary Flames. He lights them up. He's obviously a point-per-game player this season. You got to love the Nuge. And then Connor McDavid is riding an NHL high 10-game point streak right now where he has 12 goals, 14 apples, 26 points in 10 games. That is insane. Leon Draisaitl on the other side. It's weird. Yeah, get a look at that for Connor McDavid. It's in December. What a month for McDavid. He's back up to on pace to cash 40-plus goals. He's back on pace to cash 50-plus goals this season. And, oh, yeah, he took over the lead on Sunday for the NHL scoring race. But then the weird one, Leon hasn't scored a goal in 8 games, but over those 8 games, He has 15 assists. I mean, what a scoring drought, I guess you could say, for Leon Draisaitl. He's also plus 110 to score tonight. You know I like that. Connor Ingram, he starts above a 900 in his debut, allowed 3 against Vegas. For the Flames, 15, 17, and 4 record. They are 7th in the Pacific Division. Once again, 6-3-1 in their last 10, but they've won 2 games in a row. They beat Seattle 4-2 on Thursday. And then, remember on Saturday, before Vegas played us on Sunday, the Flames beat the Golden Knights by a score of 6-3. Wolf played on Thursday. Cooley played on Saturday. And now it's going to be Wolf again tonight. We looked at the head-to-head. The Oilers should get the dub in this hockey game. And then, Brett, also their PK, though, shout out, 8th in the entire NHL. So there's one matchup you could look at that's like a little bit of best on best. The Oilers, obviously, elite power play against their top 10 PK. Kadri leads the Flames in points. Dustin Wolf, he's making the start. And now, Brett, I believe our producer, Brett, has a little game prepared for us, Zachary, that I'm not entirely certain about. I believe it's the naughty or nice list. You know how those work. Obviously pretty simple, but producer Brett, take it away, my brother.
Hello. I will come to you from the voice above, as the voice above. So yes, Bordzy, you are right. We are doing a little naughty or nice list. I'm going to give you about 4, maybe 5 if I'm feeling generous, depending on time, depending, of course. And you're just going to have to tell me if this person or thing is on the Edmonton Oilers, specifically the Edmonton Oilers, naughty or nice list. The first one, we're going to go a little more recent. What about Stuart Skinner? The homegrown kid brought the Oilers to the Cup final 2 years in a row. Couldn't quite get the job done. The Oilers send him off. Is he on the Oilers naughty or nice list?
For me, Stuart Skinner will never be on anything but my nice list because he is the local boy, and I will always what could have been. There should have been statues of Stuart Skinner, little mustaches all over the city, kids named Stuart all over the place. But sadly, we do not live in that alternate universe. But you could never make me hate Stu. You could never pay me enough to hate on Stu. He'll always be on my nice list. Zach, what about you?
I agree with you, man. He's on my nice list for sure. If you just look at his body of work and his play, especially in the last year or two, probably lands on the naughty list. But I'm not going there. I agree with you, Bordzy. Local boy. I'm always going to cheer for Stuart Skinner. I want him to be successful in the NHL.
I like it. Alrighty. The next one, going from one former goaltender to a potential future Oilers goaltender. How about Marc-Andre Fleury? Is he on the Edmonton Oilers naughty or nice list?
I'll take this one first. I was talking about this on ONE. Marc-Andre Fleury, I'm so out on this. It's so on the naughty list. And I think I'm out on farewell tours for the most part. Guys like Marc-Andre Fleury, they earn their farewell tour. At the beginning of the season, they announce, hey, I'm going to retire. Because then you get to go into every visiting building. They present you with something. And Fleury has entirely earned that. But he did that for all of last season. And then he did, okay, I'm going to go play in the World Championships as well. I'm not entirely done with it there. And then if you remember, he played in a preseason game as well this season, still unable to hang him up. And then here we are a couple months later, still in the news. I'll always love Marc-Andre Fleury. The image of him wearing an Oilers jersey would be top notch. However, Leon Draisaitl does wear number 29, so I don't know what he would rock, but just in my opinion, just go enjoy retirement. You're already a legend, but Connor Ingram's the future for the Oilers. Let's go, Zach. You in or out, naughty or nice?
Oh, man. I think you actually convinced me to put him on the naughty list here. I was thinking nice list at first because, I think it would be fun to have Marc-Andre Fleury here. Obviously, there's the relationship with Tristan Jarry. If he's willing to take league minimum just to come and try and play again. But, in the same breath, like his game really kind of fell off these last 2 years in Minnesota. 66 starts over the last 2 years, 896 save percentage, negative 9.8 goals saved above average, and just a 55% quality start percentage. The game kind of seemed like it was starting to pass Fleury by, and I just don't really know how much he would really be able to give the Edmonton Oilers that they don't already have. Maybe they're looking at it from the perspective of like a good in the room guy. They lost some of that glue with Corey Perry leaving the team. Maybe that's kind of what they're thinking here. But I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the Oilers bringing back Marc-Andre Fleury here. I got to see more from Connor Ingram. I got to see a larger body of work before I make a decision on that, though.
They already have a backup goalie vibes guy in one Calvin Pickard. That's our guy. Brett, what else you got?
All right, I am going to give you 5, but the last one's going to be a funny last one, so don't worry about it. The next one, the Clarence Campbell Bowl. The Edmonton Oilers have won it 2 years in a row, but that's about it. That's all they've been able to put in their trophy case. Is the Clarence Campbell Bowl on the Edmonton Oilers naughty or nice list?
Like the Western...
It's on the nice list for me for sure. I mean, listen, yeah, the Edmonton Oilers lost in the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row, but this is the most success that the Edmonton Oilers have had in a franchise in 2 decades, and even longer, 35 years if you exclude 05-06, right? So the fact that the Oilers were even able to get to the Stanley Cup Final is a massive accomplishment. They won the Western Conference both years. Absolutely a nice thing for me.
I'm proud of shit of the back-to-back cup runs. It's some of the most fun I've ever had in my life. I will tell my kids about the 2 years the Edmonton Oilers lost the Stanley Cup Final, living down at Greta, enjoying the streets. That's some of the nicest memories I have. So, no, I'm always in on that. What else you got?
All right. Last kind of serious one, even though we are off the ice and this isn't really that serious. The Donair cannon. Listen, this thing came to blazing glory. Everybody loved the Donair cannon. Then people were getting hit. Donairs were getting exploded. Liam got a Donair. There's been some good, some bad, some relatively whatever you may call it, je ne sais quoi. But does the Donair cannon make the Edmonton Oilers naughty or nice list?
I'm always in on Donair cannons. I'm always in on free food, no matter what way you're going to give it to me. Whether like when they have the pizzas like parachute out of the sky, whether it's Donairs out of the cannon. I get there's been some complaints about the quality of the Donair. Hey, I'm not judging my Donair cannon Donairs off of the quality of that Donair. It's about all the shine. It's about all the trimmings that come with it and all that. And once again, I've never gotten a Donair out of the cannon, so I couldn't totally tell you, but that's some of the most electric thing. When we saw that online and they were doing that, it was unbelievable. I'll always be in. And Zach, something tells me you're the resident king Donair guy here at Oilers Nation. There's no way you could ever be out on anything Donair.
No, you're absolutely right. Love Donairs. I do not discriminate against them. Some I like more than others, of course. Everybody's got their preferences. Everybody likes them a certain way. Sweet sauce guy over here. That's the way you got to do it. Got to make sure you get a nice steamed pita. I don't know if we're getting steamed pitas from the Donair cannon Donairs, but as far as I'm concerned, Bordzy, Donairs bring joy to everybody involved. There should be more Donairs for people. The more ways we can get Donairs into the hands of the citizens of Edmonton and people all around the world, for that matter, the better.
I like it. I'm on your side. And finally, the fun one. Do you think Oilers Nation is on the Edmonton Oilers naughty or nice list?
I mean, I probably should plead the fifth, but I'm an absolutely. We're absolutely on the naughty list, and there's no other way to put it. Shout out Harrison Cates though, because I broed out with him downtown during the NHL playoffs, and we're on good terms, the two of us. I'll leave everything else out of it, but yeah, no, I would definitely the naughty list.
That was the naughty or nice list, and that last one went about as expected. So, Stuart Skinner, you can expect some gifts today or tomorrow, I suppose. Marc-Andre Fleury, you're getting Cole. Oilers Nation, apparently we're getting Cole. And the Clarence Campbell Bowl and the Donair cannon. Y'all are getting gifts. All righty. I like it. Naughty or nice list. Merry
There
Christmas.
we go. Shout out. Now, you guys, no, I've done it before. I've talked about it before. Krampus. You don't want to be on Krampus's naughty list. That's the guy. And it'll be a lifetime of torture for those children. Let's go now. Once again, maybe Brett, one more time, just throw up the daily face-off lineup for anybody joining late. This is what the Oilers are rocking with. Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, Pods, Dry, Jack Roslovic, Mangiapane, Rico, Matt Savoy, Maximum Jones with Trent Frederick as the 4C and Matthias Janmark. And then your deep pairings, Ekholm, Bush, Nursey, Reggie, Stastny with Ty Emerson. Zach, I guess, let me quickly ask it. Jack Roslovic makes his return to the lineup. He gets back to his spot on the second line wing with one Leon Draisaitl, where I'm a firm believer you don't lose your spot due to injury. He was tearing it up in that spot before he got injured. I think it was 17 points in his last 16 games. But in his absence, we saw Matt Savoy play well, and then it kind of tailed off a little bit there as well. But we all know, talk about it all the time, the lack of depth scoring, the lack of play drivers in the bottom six. Do you like that Roslovic sticks up in the top six, or do you think he should play further down the lineup as to be that spark, be that play driver? Because for me, a little bit, I don't know, he's coming back from injury. It's the last game before the Christmas break. I don't think you overthink it. I think you play your best players with your best players, and that's Roslovic with Leon Draisaitl. Where do you come out?
Yeah, I agree with you here for the time being. I think Jack Roslovic back up on the second line is a fine spot for him to be right now. Listen, the guy had to have surgery after blocking a shot with his nuts against the Dallas Stars. I still cannot get over it. I'm stunned that he is even alive right now. I don't know if I would be alive after blocking a shot down there. Granted, he didn't have Matt Hendricks's cup. Unfortunately, maybe he wouldn't have had to have surgery. But listen, I think this is a fine spot for him to be right now. Moving forward, I don't know how much longer, this iteration of the lineup is going to last, right? I mean, I'm wondering about, does Ryan Nugent-Hopkins slide down to that 3C spot? Golden Hockey had a great column on Oilersnation.com today about how it's time for the Edmonton Oilers to limit Adam Henrique's role. And it's really solely just due to the fact that he's providing zero offense in the bottom six on that third line for the Edmonton Oilers, right? So I kind of like the idea of, maybe we bump Ryan Nugent-Hopkins down to that 3C spot. Maybe Roslovic slides down alongside him. Matt Savoy can bump back up to that second line, and then we can have some internal competition for that other spot on Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman's opposite wing. So I think that's kind of something we might end up seeing here sooner rather than later. But hey, you know what? For the time being, man, it's kind of hard to argue with the results, right? The Oilers are going full on McDry mode here right now. This top six is absolutely buzzing. Even a guy like Vasily Podkolzin, 5 goals in his last 10 games played. He's looking great right now. I think there's going to be some changes coming soon, though, to the way this lineup is constructed. But for now, let's keep him rolling. Let's see if Jack Roslovic can get feeling good about his game again and kind of help him repair and rebuild his game, get reacclimated back to the NHL, and then we can start to see from there.
Get some comfortability right now. Just get the dub and then spread the wealth, or consider spreading the wealth a little bit later. But yeah, you mentioned it. Those top six, the big dogs rolling right now. Let's go. Starting goaltender report brought to you by Dog Patch. We're not going to be there for the rest of December, but over the holiday break, man, I highly recommend you go down there. Taking my family to Dog Patch before, taking the girlfriend. It's just a lovely, lovely little time. And on the weekends, they got a special brunch menu that it just hits. Dog Patch, shout them out down in the River Valley. Bert, throw it up. Tail the tape between the two goaltenders. Ingram, that's right. A 903. We went with the adjusted save percentage that NHL.com gave him. They said he stopped 28 of 31 against Vegas. Let's go, baby. And then Dustin Wolf, 11-13-2 record. 292 goals against with an 896 save percentage. Zach, you kind of mentioned it earlier, and then we got to go and talk about the Flames lineup and get confirmation on them. But Michael Menzies wrote an awesome article on Oilersnation.com where, so we all know that Connor Ingram and Chris Knobloch both hail from Imperial, Saskatchewan, which is wild enough because it's a town that I checked their survey census back in 2021, a population of 372 people. So wild that there's one professional athlete, one professional coach, and the fact that it's down the road pretty close considerably with the Edmonton Oilers is wild. Gets even wilder, though, because Connor Ingram's dad, I guess, apparently taught Chris Knobloch high school. So there's a quote in here. I knew the family very well. Connor was probably the only one I didn't know just because he was the youngest of the family. His mom and dad worked for the school. Mr. Ingram was our 7th grade homeroom teacher, was my football coach, track and field coach, volleyball coach, you name it. And then, Chris Knobloch becomes a coach in the NHL. So these two, I guess they've been attached at the hip for a very long time. Zachary, this is small world stuff hitting the NHL, hitting the big leagues.
Bonkers, man. Just what a small town story, right? Imperial, Saskatchewan's very own here. Both of them with the Edmonton Oilers. It's such a cool story. I love stuff like this, man. And like thinking of Mr. Ingram teaching Chris Knobloch, and now Chris Knoblauch's the teacher of Connor Ingram. Like full circle, man. It's a really cool story. How can you not feel excited about this? I mean, listen, the Imperial Hotel has got to be bumping on every Edmonton Oilers game night. There's probably going to be dozens of people down there at the hotel watching tonight's game. Hopefully, maybe they have Pregaming with Bordzy on even right now in one of the little hotel bar screens.
Sasky Girl Oil fan, let me know. What are the vibes like down in Saskatchewan right now after that W? It's got to be big time. Okay, let's go quickly. Away lineup, Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament going down in January. Going to be a lovely time out on beautiful Lake Mildred. I'm not sure if registration's still open, but I'm still going to tell you to keep checking there. It's going to be an unbelievable time. All your favorite Nation Network personalities coming down. Bert, projected lineup for the Calgary Flames. Quickly here as you get a look at these. Top line, Joel Farabee with Kadri and Yegor Sharangovich. Second line, Jonathan Huberdeau with Morgan Frost, Matt Coronado. Then third, Connor Zary with Michael Backlund and Blake Coleman. Ryan Lomberg with John Beecher and Adam McClapka. Your deep pairings, Kevin Ball with Rasmus Anderson, Jan Kuznetsov with Mackenzie Weegar, and then Joel Hanley with Hunter Brustevich. So Jonathan Huberdeau recorded 800 points on Thursday. Good for him, blah, blah, blah. Last year, he had his Flames high 62 points. Good for him. This year, he's projected, I think, for 50, which is his lowest career total, I think, since like 16-17, when he only played 30 games that season. It's one of my favorite contracts in the entire NHL. I had to check again today. That's right. Year 3 of an 8-year deal at $10.5 million. Zachary, the gift that keeps on giving. Give me a player to watch from the Calgary Flames this evening. Then quickly, we'll do Bordzy's bankroll.
Nobody. You know the rules, Bordzy. Why would you even ask me that? Nobody to watch from the Calgary Flames side of things. But I will say this much. Mikael Backlund, Blake Coleman, Connor Zary are the starting forwards for the Calgary Flames tonight. And then it's going to be Mackenzie Weegar and Jan Kuznetsov on the blue line.
Okay, we got that. Also, I think Backlund in their last 2 games, he has 2 goals and 2 goals. He has 5 points and over the last 2 as well. And we know him. He always gets a little bit chippy when he's playing against the Edmonton Oilers, especially in Rogers Place. Let's go now. Bordzy's Bankroll brought to you by Bet365. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Only bet what you're willing to lose. Be smart. Be responsible. I also like that I just saw somebody in the chat said Dallas Glover. Let's go Oilers from Sask. That's right, baby. No, Bert, you can keep it up. Bordzy's Bankroll. It's the cream edition here. And I feel good about this. We're going with Connor McDavid, 3+ shots on goal. So he's hit this in 5 straight hockey games. This new version of McDavid in December loves shooting the puck. He has 23 shots over his last 5. So we like that. -170. You feel good on home ice against the Flames. And then the second one, Nuge, just to get 2 shots, -165. He's hit this in 4 straight hockey games in which he has 10 shots over that stretch. Then the final one, Leon hasn't scored in 8 games. We're playing the Flames, BOA on home ice in the cream jerseys before Christmas. The power play's rocking. I think Leon's going to find the back of the net in this hockey game. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. +115. Parlayed together, this is +450 on Bet365. I like it, not just because it looks good and they're all in their cream jerseys, but big dog performance. We got one in the last game Sunday against the Vegas Golden Knights. I think the 3 here, they'll wear a letter for a reason. I think they're going to get it done this evening.
Bordzy, in the words of Wu-Tang, cash rules everything around me, and I hope cash rules everything around you tonight. My favorite one of these, I like the Leon Draisaitl goal, man. He is so absolutely due for one. I think back, what was it, the second or third period against Vegas? He missed like a wide open net, shot it wide, set up in the office. You don't see that happen very often. He's due to get back on the board tonight.
And then quickly, we do have an updated Flames lineup here. Shout out to, I believe it is Derek Wills. There you see it on your screen. Huberdeau, Frost, Coronado for the top line. Frost, sorry. And then the second line, Yegor Sharangovich with Kadri, Joel Farabee, Connor Zary with Backlund and Coleman, Lomberg, Beecher, Klapka. And there you get a look. Dustin Wolf going to be the starter as well for the Lames. Zachary, Brett, you as well. Chat, you as well. Score predictions, anytime goal scorers. I'm obviously going Leon Draisaitl anytime. Putting my money where my mouth is as well. But I think it's kind of been point night recently for the Edmonton Oilers. And I got no reason to think, empty the tank before the Christmas break. It's the Flames. You remember what happened in the last game. You're on home ice. I think it's going to be a big one for the Oilers. I'm going to say 6-2. I'm feeling belt to ass. Beltmas continues for the Edmonton Oilers. Zachary, what about you?
I like it. I'm going with a 6-1 win for the Edmonton Oilers. And you know what? I'm going with a Trent Frederick goal tonight. Plus 600 anytime goal score. Sprinkled a little bit on that. Plus 3,500 is the first goal score. Put a little sprinkle on that one as well.
That building would go nuts if Trent Frederick scored a goal tonight right before Christmas. Bert, the God above, voice above. What do you got? What are you thinking?
Boys, there must be a fiery theme tonight. We're going up against the Flames. What do they symbolize? Flames of hell. I'm also going with 6. 6-2. My jaw audibly dropped when you also said it. 6-2, Bordzy. And lasers pointed at the earth. Fate of the world pointed at us in his hand. I'm going Ty Emberson. Ty Emerson scoring a goal tonight, baby. And that's L word, baby. I don't know why. Just feeling it. Let's go. 6-2.
I just scrolled all the way down to the very bottom of the goal scoring odds on Bet365. And there he is at the very bottom. Ty Emerson plus 1,600 to score a goal. Brett, that'd be unbelievable. You're going to have to sprinkle on that now. Thank you. Thank you for the siren. We love that. Oh, I also, Conservative J, 7-5 Oilers. It's going to be one of those nights. Who knows? I'm usually wrong in predicting the score. But we all keep shooting from the hip. That's how I feel about Bordzy's bankroll. Responsibly, 19+. All right, that'll do it for us on Pregaming, the final one, pre-Christmas. But don't worry, we'll be live for Oilersnation After Dark right after the hockey game, hopefully, where Zach and I are counting our money on Bet365. And then just another programming note. Tomorrow, maybe Christmas Eve, but we're still doing an Oilers Nation every day, 30-minute episode at home. We're going to crank it out at noon, talk about the BOA. We got to give the people something to be able to listen to over the Christmas break. And then once again, we did our Oilers Nation every day Christmas special yesterday. That's going to drop. I'm already getting confused because we're dropping so many things. I think that goes on Christmas. And then Boxing Day, we're dropping the Sauce versus Oilers Nation Everyday Family Feud, where I was Steve Harvey. I still haven't seen this one yet. I know it's going to be good because I took part in it. So we got a lot of good content coming your way over the Christmas break. But I love you all. Throw down your courtesy like on the way out. Make sure you are subscribed to the ON YouTube channel. And then me, Zach, Bart, we'll talk to you in a couple hours, hopefully breaking down an Oilers W. Until then, I bid you adieu. Good luck on Bet365, and we will talk in a bit.